What up, peeps, and welcome to a Finance Guy podcast, a show for all genders and species about bringing some humanity and a bit of fun to the world of finance and tech and leaving you with a little something that can help you on your way. All right, please enjoy. Thanks. All right, welcome to another episode of the Finance Guys podcast and Finance Guys TV. Today we welcome very special guest, Mr. Lincoln.
Thank you.
Linc, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Linc, welcome.
Thank you, Sid.
Can't forget.
Oh, yeah.
And
can I keep that?
absolutely. Yeah. And Linc is one of our business partners here in AWS Infrastructure. We've worked together for almost 4 years, or 4 years now.
Yes.
Right? And
long time.
Yeah. How would you describe what you do here? How would you tell people?
Oh, in its basis, most basic form, solving capacity constraint, sourcing supply for the data center business. So we have to find the most robust infrastructure that we can. That's the most scalable option that we can find with the best economic. Sounds easy.
That's it. Simply put.
Yeah.
Simply put. And who would you say is your best finance partner?
Oh, Charlie Kunkin, no doubt.
Oh, me?
And Sid. Yeah, it's yeah. How do you
Got him.
choose? Yeah.
But Linc has, like, when I joined, I remember Linc has always been like our colo expert, and I still remember calling him in Singapore and getting some wisdom on how colo deals work. And so Linc has worked in different geographies. So now just walk us through your experience.
Yeah,
you know?
I got this exact same question yesterday. So from my point of view, a true biz dev person can be parachuted into any geography, and they have to know the parameters with which they can work in AWS. Yeah. We have long-range planning, we have supply triggers, we have an economic model that we know that will work. Whether you're sitting, negotiating with South Koreans, or if you're in Beijing, or if you're in Germany, you have to obviously adapt to the local customs, but the underlying problem that you're trying to solve remains the same. Again, it comes back to the same thing. What are we solving for? You're trying to alleviate capacity constraint or look around corners to get future supply at the best economic. You always have to think, if it was your dollar, where would you spend it? And you have to always think about that. So across multi-geographies, I think a true biz dev person can parachute into any geography and do the job that AWS needs them to do.
Oh, awesome.
I thought when I joined here, I didn't have background in cloud computing.
Right.
And I thought it was kind of interesting that like you think of the cloud, it's sort of some like omnipresent thing. And like when we talk about biz dev and as far as supply goes, it's actually like bricks and mortar, and like
absolutely.
This is where the cloud actually meets the earth.
Yes.
And so you've had like a career in this space. Has it been like a pretty like big change since you started in this industry, or?
Yeah, absolutely. But first of all, in my very first week at Amazon, my boss at the time said, we run a product called Elastic Compute, but it's not elastic for you. It's finite.
Right.
You have to make it infinite.
Yeah.
So it's absolutely right. So we love our customers having an infinite supply of capacity, but in reality, they're buildings on plots of land that need to be built and maintained by infrastructure operations, etc.
Well, that's the sales pitch, right? Is that for customers, it's variable.
Absolutely, yeah.
Right? So we provide them a variable amount of usage whenever they want.
Correct.
But in
we
reality,
don't get that luxury.
Yeah, in reality, it's hard assets.
It is hard assets, and we have to construct contracts that reflect that. Do you buy to baseline? Do you buy to high side? Do you contract reservation options that you don't financially commit to? Rack month deals. Like, there's a whole host of things that you have to put into a deal to make sure that elasticity is there for customers, but it keeps us awake at night.
So let me ask then, this is kind of like that's the sales pitch of the cloud, is that it takes it's sort of like what I think energy was at the turn of the last century, right? Where people could plug into the grid instead of generating their own.
Sure.
How did you get into this industry? What did it look like when you started? Did you study undergrad for this type of stuff?
I think everybody who's been in the industry as long as me fell into it. I don't think anybody woke up and wanted to be
Be
in
in
the
this.
data center or the network industry when they grew up. They just, all of the people that I know in the industry accidentally fell into it.
Okay.
And I was no exception. And I was traveling. So I was living in London 20 years ago. And as all backpackers, you need to earn money to go on the next adventure.
Was this like gap year or something after you did college or before college?
After college.
Oh, okay. What did you study?
I did finance law.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah. But don't ask me any questions on either topic because it was a long time ago and I'm far from an expert. But I just fell into it. Like back in the day, it was a quite a well-paying job, and you didn't need to have a great deal of expertise to be able to get the job. So a lot of people gravitated towards those roles.
Were you basically doing data centers for like enterprises, like for companies, like their data center solution? There was no cloud, right?
It was called value-added services back then.
Yeah.
So what's old is new. So what's now cloud computing used to be called VAS, certainly in Europe, value-added services. And it was basically taking infrastructure out of an enterprise's office and putting it into a data center.
Oh, okay.
But that was when the dot-com crash happened.
Oh, this is 2000 sort of.
You're correct. So there was a lot of data centers that then got turned into residential homes because there was just no demand for
Very
it.
chic.
Yeah, absolutely. I worked in a data center in Old Street, which is in central London, which was a beautiful facility with 18 generators on site, state of the art. Company went Chapter 11, and then I think they sold it as office space.
Wow.
I mean, you fast forward to today when we can't keep up with supply. Take any AWS region, and it has a similar trajectory. I mean, when we talk about a slow growth region, it might be compound annual growth rate of 20%, which is still pretty impressive. And sometimes we deal with much higher multiples than that. Finding those assets that were available back then, if we had that option today, we would have truly infinite and elastic supply.
Yeah. So tell us about like where you were when you started out. You were backpacking. You were trying to do some trips. What was?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like all good Australians, you have to go back to the motherland of England.
How come every time I travel, there's always a pack of Australians doing some sort of epic, like year-long trip? It's like a tradition or something.
Yeah, we just like to get out of Australia. There's too many dangerous animals there. I think it's more
too many poisonous things.
Self-preservation. Yeah. I don't know. I guess I can't answer that, but I.
But you were out. You were back in London. Just kind of traveling.
Just traveling. Trying to explore Europe.
Yeah. How long was the trip?
Well, I was supposed to be there for 12 months, and I ended up being there for 6 years.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So, which is probably another common story. People travel, they love the area, and they decide to stay.
Yeah.
And I just needed money to travel, to continue the adventure.
Yeah.
Oh, so that 6 years you're talking about is purely backpacking across?
No, I became a responsible adult somewhere through that 6 years. I can't actually pinpoint. Yeah, I know. Can't pinpoint exactly when it happened, but it definitely happened.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
And so then, how did this come across your plate? Then you just
money.
Yeah.
No. So, a very good friend of mine lives in Hong Kong.
Okay.
And she coincidentally lived in the same apartment block as Giles Proctor. And she saw him in the lift, and Giles said, I have a position open for Singapore that I'm having trouble filling. And my friend Kelly said, you should ring Lincoln, you used to work together. So he rang me that day. I moved to Singapore.
That was your Amazon origin story.
That was my Amazon origin story. So
and Giles was the director here.
He was the director at the time, yes.
Yeah.
And he said, the very first question he asked me, he said, the job's based in Singapore. And I said, I'll move. I'm done.
So you had been in this cloud computing space and got a kind of a call from Amazon because a friend recommended you.
Yes. Yeah. So the planets aligned.
Right.
I sort of wasn't looking for it. I used to deal with Amazon in my previous role before I moved to Amazon. I worked for a submarine cable provider, and Amazon was a massive consumer of those submarine cables. So I was obviously familiar with Amazon, and I had some familiarity with the absolute scale at which they operate, but I wasn't sort of actively looking for whatever reason.
Yeah.
But then, because I had a personal relationship with Giles, he rang me.
Yeah.
And I basically put the ball in motion, and it was very exciting, and it remains exciting.
Yeah. Is the industry in a place where there's, like, if I feel like it's growing more than like there's people who have experience in it?
Oh, absolutely.
You know, like from a finance perspective,
Yeah.
we get myself included, a lot of just good folks that have never been in cloud computing before.
And it should be encouraged.
Mm-hmm.
So again, I had this exact question yesterday. Go back sort of when I first started in the industry, people were what you would sort of call lifers. They would spend 20 years in a company, 20 years in a job. That was what they would do. I hated that concept, but as a result of those people who were lifers, there was a massive reluctance to bring in new people. They wanted to bring in experienced people. So you would churn through the same people in the industry. The thing that I've noticed and really like about Amazon is that they will find new people to come in that may not have the industry experience, but definitely have the potential. For whatever reason, I'm a facilitator for the Making Good Hiring Decisions program. I don't really publish that because people will put me on a list to go and facilitate it, and it's quite an effort to do it. But you see in that room of 60 people, and you're normally their first day at Amazon, fresh-faced, young, willing to learn, and you see it often. And in my previous experience, that was rare.
Yeah.
So people, like, I think we should get more people in to cloud computing to understand if they want to learn about what is probably a pretty dry topic. If they want to learn about that, we should invest the time in those people and encourage them to learn more.
What makes people successful that come in? What are good traits if they want to do something like that?
Willingness to learn. Tying it to a leadership principle, like bias for action. Like, they have to be willing to learn the business, and they have to be willing to try things. They have to be willing to fail at things in order to progress, and that's A-okay.
Yeah.
People who come into the business who potentially think they know how everything works, I think is fraught with danger at any level. People who come in and are willing to take risk, willing to make mistakes, and then grow from that, that's an ideal trait.
What kind of risks would that be? Just kind of putting themselves out there to take on like a new project, or?
Oh, well, you have to do that.
Yeah.
Again, in my very first day at Amazon, our VP at the time said, I didn't hire you to ask me questions. I hired you to do your job. So don't come back to me and ask for approval. I'm expecting you to go forth and make these decisions for yourself.
It's like come with solutions rather than
Come with
questions.
solutions. So there's no decision that's irreversible. If you make a mistake, if you go and negotiate a deal with a vendor that's not the best deal for Amazon, you can reverse that deal. But you will cut your teeth in negotiating the commercial contracting piece and the commercial piece. You know, you might do a longer term than the business likes, you might do a higher rate, there might be some contractual issues or SPOF issues that you just didn't think about. You can reverse, like, you have to go and do that and make those mistakes yourself to grow from it, so from the next time you know how to be nimble in that negotiation.
Yeah.
And we have 20 people approving a car, so you're not gonna tie the business into a decision that we
oversight.
can't. There's enough oversight. So you will have to take on new projects, that's just a given. But making a bad decision, you know, I think tying yourself in thinking that there's only one solution to a problem is a mistake. There's always a plan B.
Yeah. What surprised you here when you joined Amazon?
The amount of autonomy that we have in the decision making, which is refreshing, incredibly scary. There's quite a lot. I find that there's the amount of money that we spend in Amazon, you become immune to it. If I was telling people in my previous company, this year we spent $2 billion USD, they'd be like, well, that's the whole market cap of our company. But here, it probably doesn't even move the needle very much. I mean, it's a very significant amount of money. So the volume of the transactions that we do, the absolute scale and pace of what we have to do I don't think anything can prepare you for that. You hear it, but until you're in the front line and you have to deliver it, it's only something you can learn by actually starting here.
Yeah.
And that was, very confronting.
Yeah.
Charlie, let's move away a little from the cloud computing part of it, and because Linc has gone through a tremendous transformation, So I just want to have some insight.
I became Irish.
So, so Linc, and correct the numbers, So Linc has almost lost 30 pounds over the past 5 months.
Correct. Yes. I lost 30 kilos.
30 kilos? Oh my God.
So
What is it? I don't even know what's a kilo like. Is that like a stone or something? What is
it's like 60 pounds.
Oh my God! Are you serious?
So I lost a whole head count of BizDev.
Oh my God, 60
Wow.
kgs. 30 kgs. Oh wow.
Yeah.
So how did it start? Just walk through the journey.
Yeah. So it's looking back now, like it was, BizDev can be a very unhealthy lifestyle and a very lonely lifestyle. When I sort of said you parachute into a country, you do that on your own, and you work, you're on call 24/7, and you have to fit your lifestyle and your family around that.
How many countries were you supporting at your peak here?
I had 25 availability zones.
Okay.
So across APAC, I think there was like 9 clusters.
You could have been in 6, 7, 8 countries within half a year, probably.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, easily.
Within a quarter. Easy.
Yeah.
Easy. So it's very easy to come back to the Sheraton at, 10 o'clock at night, eat a massive cheese pizza and go straight to bed and do no exercise. But it's not sustainable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I'd always sort of, when I was younger, always sort of been interested in fitness, I guess, and sport. I just enjoy it. And I sort of just looked at myself one day and went, this is probably not a very sustainable lifestyle. So overnight, I changed my entire diet to plant-based.
This was like 6 months ago?
6 months ago.
Yeah. Did you just have a moment where you had an epiphany, a breaking point? Or?
I did. I had showing my age, I went to a friend of mine from Australia, had his 50th birthday, and he had a boys' weekend in Bali.
Oh, nice.
And we're all like family men, we took 3 days off, which was 2 days too many. Yeah. And, he was drinking beer and sitting at the beach. And I came back from that trip and I said to my wife, I'm out. Mm-hmm. I'm done. Mm-hmm. That trip has broken me. So that was it. Yeah, boys' trip. And I think the 4 of us that were on that trip were like, let's just not see each other for another 12 months.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we're good. We're good. So it was just sort of a health and lifestyle thing, and I guess tried to take it to the extreme.
Yeah. So what were the big check boxes that you were?
So I eliminated alcohol. Eliminated eating animal products and started exercising.
So no dairy, no meat?
No.
Oh, wow.
All plant-based.
All plant-based?
Yes.
Was it hard to figure out what to eat?
I have an advantage that I actually like that sort of food. Like I like fruit and vegetables.
Yeah.
So I've always sort of gravitated towards that. So it wasn't a struggle for me. But I did notice, I've noticed, we're on a podcast. I don't normally talk about this sort of thing.
What great place.
This
to
is
be.
Yeah. Like it's therapeutic.
Yeah.
But I've never had more people interested in my diet in my whole life since I became plant-based.
Yeah.
And for Christmas, I was at my wife's family. I got 3 vegan cookbooks.
Yeah. Let's move this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I got 3 vegan cookbooks, and I was like, okay. So there's no shortage of things to eat.
Yeah.
But I think people would try it and not like it because they just may not like that sort of food. But I enjoy it.
Okay, so you did the vegan.
Yeah.
And then you cut out alcohol at the same time.
Yes.
So that I feel like that vastly changes like socially what you're doing or like lifestyle, or did it?
Yeah, I became much grumpier. I avoided going out to see people. No. Look, I've always been grumpy. Look, you just. I would just go to social functions and just not drink and eat what I wanted, and people were just super supportive, whether they said something about it or not. It wasn't.
I don't
a thing.
drink, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and I've never drank in my entire life. So
Yeah.
people have supported it, you know.
I've seen
Yeah.
you drink.
Yeah.
No, I don't. I drink Coke, you know. So do you drink soft drinks as well, or is it out for you?
No, I don't.
Oh
no.
man,
Yeah.
that's
What kind-
hardcore.
And
you
what
know?
kind of like fitness stuff did you start getting into?
This is therapeutic. I didn't think this would be this deep. So I love sort of like, high intensity interval training.
Oh, my
that's
goodness.
really good. Like I've just started competitive boxing, so I really enjoy
Whoa,
that.
guy, man.
Yeah, well,
This is awesome.
so I was sitting at my desk in Dublin the other day, and I'd been punched in the face 4 times in the morning in the gym, and then somebody sent me an emotional email, and I remember thinking, yeah, I got this.
Yeah, that's
my day started out bad.
Oh my God.
And it can only get better. But I
That's
really
so
enjoy
funny,
it.
yeah.
But I just really enjoy it from the sport point of view. Thoroughly
Is
enjoyable.
it sparring, or you could get really like punched in the face?
So it depends who your sparring partner is. Sometimes you have a normal person, sometimes you have an overzealous person. On that particular morning, I had a very overzealous person.
Have you gotten like knocked out, or?
No,
Okay.
no. So the thing that I have learned about boxing is it's not actually hitting people, it's not getting hit.
No kidding.
Job number 1.
Wow. Did
Yeah.
you box? Like, what were your sports when you were growing up?
I did a lot of athletics
Yeah.
and swimming. I did ocean swimming quite a lot, which is in Australia, which was really enjoyable.
running away from sharks and stuff like that.
Oh my God. There's,
Just going to Bondi
Of course,
Beach.
you're going to be fast, right? You have to. Be.
yeah. It's really exhilarating, but you just have to be faster than the next person swimming next to you, so they get eaten and you don't. So I always sort of did that sort of stuff, and I found it really enjoyable. And I had a really large gap from not doing it.
Yeah.
Work takes over, family life takes over, so I'm sort of now coming back to it and just thoroughly enjoying it.
What's your like regimen, and like do you do boxing one day, something someday?
I do boxing 5 days a week in the morning.
Damn.
6
Wow.
o'clock, go to the gym.
Rocky style.
And do you run?
I hate running. It's boring. But I every now and then I'll do it if I'm
So basically, plant-based diet and exercise.
Yes.
And so then what does travel look like now? Because you're still like going to different countries, right? Is that as intense, or?
Oh yeah. So the travel will never stop. You have a job to do, and you have to represent.
There's a lot of people I think in Amazon that travel, so I think it'd be interesting to know, like, have you been able to take it on the road with you, this lifestyle? Or?
You have to do a biz dev health regime where you have a circuit you do in Mumbai, a circuit you do in Frankfurt, a circuit you do in London. So I have noticed for myself that I have swapped out going to the bar at the Sheraton to going to the gym, which is really sad. It's easy to take on the road. Really easy.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it? How is it? How do you do it?
Every hotel has a gym, or you just pack your runners. There's a lot of hotels that they will actually cater, so you don't have to travel with that sort of exercise gear, so you don't have to cart it around in your bag. You can hire it from them. Get up early, get it out of the way, go and do your job, whether you're at home or in a hotel gym. Sometimes the hotel gym's even better, because they've got a lot more stuff. So you can do different things.
What about like
food,
client meetings and stuff? Do you find yourself like in situations that are now difficult because does it revolve around meals and dinner and stuff like that?
I never gravitated towards that. I take that really strictly. Like, I don't like vendors buying meals. It's a personal thing. I don't want to have an unconscious bias of being in that situation. So I never really gravitated towards it. But in the situation where I do go for a meal, everyone will cater for. You don't have to be very strict. Again, I was at my boss's house for dinner the other night. If they're nice enough to cook me dinner, I'm going to be respectful and eat what they've prepared for me.
Right.
So you don't have to be 100% strict. So you can always, make allowance. But for a vendor thing, you can. There's thousands of things you can do.
Yeah, very cool. And so, like, I don't know,
What about you guys? Like, come on, what's? I haven't seen you guys in a while, so.
Well, Sid's on a crazy like distance running kick right now.
Right. Okay.
So I'm doing like.
I saw you in your sports equipment the other day.
Yeah, so I'm doing the goal is 1,000 miles this year. So
wow.
I've already done close to 114 in the past 20 days. So I'm almost running like 6 miles a day.
Wow. Where do you do that around?
So I have a Kent YMCA which is close to my house.
Yeah.
YMCA, and then I have a treadmill at my place.
Yeah. Okay.
So
pound out the miles on the treadmill.
So that's like what 20 to 30 miles a week you need to do to get your
but
1,000?
right now the pace that I'm like the first week I did 42, and the second week I did
You just
40.
yeah. So did you have a break the week after because you'd clocked up 42
because with
miles?
that goal I also have a 100-mile swim goal.
That's hard.
And that's hard, you know. So
yeah.
So I want to get one dusted. So that
good
I
for you.
You need to find a pool that has sharks in it.
Exactly. You will knock those 100 miles out.
Yeah.
How about you, Charlie? You're a new dad.
Me, new dad life. I try to keep it simple. I hit the gym for like half an hour at the office.
Yep.
And I just kind of like the high intensity stuff.
Yeah.
You know, do some sprints, do a couple weights, just kind of in and out. I used to run distance. I've done a marathon. That was like 2007, but my knees don't hold up to it. And I just transitioned and found that I kind of like, I get in and out. That's kind of the thing. And, you know, like you said with the food too, like if you can like eat well, like 75-80% of the time, you're going to be
absolutely
in great shape. You know, like as far as like just feeling wise.
Yeah.
And, you know, I just kind of keep an eye on that. I don't have anything that I'm too like overly religious about, but just generally I try to do what you do, like more vegetables.
Yep. Still playing guitar?
But
I got that going too. Now it's funny because like having like a 2-month-old, like my old life used to be like, I used to be very strict on like regimens. Wake up early, practice, do this, practice, do that. Now it's just like, she either sleep for a little bit, I'll like mess around with the guitar, much more like.
He's writing a book as well.
And writing a book.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah,
What's the book about?
It's gonna be like a heist.
I saw this on your LinkedIn. I'm going to start asking the questions. Actually,
what's going on in Shanghai? It's gonna be. Since you asked, it's gonna be. I think a heist novel. I'm really like into heist stories.
I saw it was Ocean's 11 and the Thomas Crown Affair.
Yeah. Well, when I was on, I've had this like. I've been drawn to heist movies. I really love them. And when I went on paternity leave, what I did is I started like over the last 2 years, started like really watching them in detail. And I started figuring out what makes a good heist movie and taking like detailed notes. And
you're a finance guy.
I am.
You spreadsheeted.
I put into a spreadsheet.
Movie.
Absolutely. I put into a spreadsheet. No, I put into a spreadsheet minute by minute everything that happened, and then I look at the commonalities between my favorite movies.
Wow.
So Charlie has an Excel which has almost like 200 columns.
No.
And then 40 heist movies, and for each heist movie he is basically singling out the characteristics.
Which has the best NPV?
It's pretty much like a model, basically, where like I watched like my 7 or 8 favorite heist movies. I made sort of a model of like all the commonalities that made them great, and then over paternity leave, my daughter and I we watched 33 heist movies together.
Wow.
We just every night she was feeding. We'd watch a heist movie.
That's excellent.
We'd check it off in the model, and we kind of back tested it, and I came up with basically the 16 things you need to do to write a good heist movie.
Fantastic.
And so now I'm trying to
Is there a character called Sid?
There's definitely going to be a Sid. I'm going to change the name
every
to protect the guilty, but yeah.
Has to have a Sid, yeah.
It is going to have a Sid, but what kind of stuff do you like to do? Why are you asking me the question? What kind of stuff?
Linc is a BD guy, at the end of the day.
It's not about me, it's all about you.
What do you do outside of work, other than like the fitness kind of stuff? You have a family. What kind of stuff do you do for fun outside of it?
Yeah, so look, I've got two young boys, 9 and 11, just have adventures with them.
Yeah.
So I try and put them in charge of, what we do for holidays and where we travel and the things that we do.
Yeah.
So they come up with some ridiculous things that as a family we do. So I just love planning that stuff with the family and say, here's the map of Europe, because we moved to Ireland recently, here's the map of Europe. Where are we going? What are we going to do when we get there? How are we going to get it? So we just plan all of that.
Are they loving Ireland?
Yes.
Singapore?
Yeah. So it's always difficult. It's easy as adults to move.
Yeah.
My wife and I have moved quite often, but it's a different factor when you have children.
Yeah.
The benefit for them was that they were in an international school in Singapore, where a lot of their friends were European, who coincidentally moved to Europe when we did, so there was a lot of commonality. So we actually went and visited my older son's best friend in England.
Oh, nice.
Oh, wow.
So, you know, it was pretty easy from that point of view. So,
How old are they?
9 and 11.
Okay.
So, you know, it's really scary for them because they have to go to a new school, they have to have new friends, but I'm just super proud and impressed of those boys of how they've handled it.
What kind of stuff do they like to do?
Football.
Soccer?
Soccer.
The foot one?
That's
the
it.
Hand, okay,
Yeah. So my youngest son goes for Manchester City. He's never been to Manchester. My older son goes for Tottenham. He's never been to Tottenham.
Hotspur.
So they would play football 24 hours a day if they could. And I love going to watch them.
Yeah.
I don't care if they do well or badly.
And the soccer scene in Europe is so amazing, you know.
Oh.
You know, you have every big club is in Europe.
That's how I got my children to move to Europe, because every morning on a Sunday morning we would Google the results from the night before. Now we can watch it live. So I've done this for you, kids.
Yeah, very true.
Man, that's a good incentive for me as well. I love soccer, you know.
You're right.
Yeah.
So I'll at some stage in the very near future we'll start taking them to matches. So that's what they will plan. So we'll go to Paris and see PSG, or you'll go to
Paris Saint-Germain.
Yeah, or you'll go to see Bayern Munich or whatever. Not team specific, but we can go and watch a huge match. They'll be in seventh heaven.
Yeah. What's your kind of your parenting philosophy? Do you have one?
See, Charlie's questions have changed. You know, Charlie would never ask this question.
Really?
A selfish question. I need this, man. I need this.
So, wow, okay, don't look at me for tips. So my wife and I had certainly no experience with children before I had my own. I don't really have a philosophy. I just try and listen to my children as much as I can. It's a very demanding job that I have, in the fact that I am away a lot, and that takes its toll. So when I'm home, it's another reason I don't go out with vendors. When I'm home, I'm with my family, and I devote 100% of my attention to them. So my philosophy is just give them as much responsibility as I can, you know, and I just try and listen to them.
Wow.
You know, obviously discipline, all that other stuff, blah, 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 that a normal parent would do. But like I really like my children, you know, planning trips, being in control of the passport and the tickets and the whole thing. Like, you're going to immigration and you're going to own this. So
wow, cool.
So I don't know. That's maybe I will get locked up for doing that to my children. I don't know, but that's.
And do you guys have you guys like got an agenda over Europe now that you're just at the center point in Dublin there?
Yeah, so look, so Giles had a plan which I really liked when he moved to Seattle, and that was to set foot in all 52 states.
50.
Yeah.
And he did it, you know.
He did it. So we want to do the same thing in Europe. We're going to get a map, and the boys then decide we're going to go to these countries, and we're going to try and knock them all off.
Cool.
And then the ones that we like, we'll go back to and spend a bit more time.
What's next on the list?
There's a furious debate in the household at the moment whether it's France or Italy.
Well, you're going to do both eventually, so, right?
My wife will win that, and we will all go to Italy.
You're going to Italy? Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Where in Italy are you guys going to go?
So we do have an offsite in Milan.
Perfect timing.
So might sneak them in for that. Otherwise, that my boy's football coach is from Rome, so he's given us a whole list of things to do in Rome.
Cool.
He's a Singapore guy, but he gave us this whole agenda of things to do. So it would be probably Rome.
Okay.
Which is a beautiful city.
Yeah. We have a couple questions that we ask everybody.
Okay.
We'll do a couple of those.
This is where I start getting nervous.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Right.
We'll start with an easy one. How do you like consume new material? Do you read books or movies or news? Like what do you
On YouTube.
YouTube?
Yeah.
How do you consume content? What do you like to fiction, nonfiction? Give us a
both. I love documentaries on Netflix and on my phone.
Yeah.
So I download it so I can just watch it on a plane.
What's one of the coolest ones you've seen in the last year?
Look, I watched all of the cliche health and fitness ones, but the one that the program that I really enjoyed, there was two actually. One was Chernobyl, which was about that was riveting. That was excellent.
Very intense, you know.
Yeah, and there was another Israeli show called, I think it was called Faust, which was Hebrew for chaos, which was really interesting. I didn't really know much about that region, and you immersed deeply into some spies in that geography.
Oh,
yeah,
like in Israel, like like a history of.
No. It's present day. It's non-fiction. It's if you've seen The Shield. Or other TV programs like that, it's sort of like a Middle East version.
Wow.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very exotic, like sounding, like being a spy in the Middle East. That's
it's
really
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never want to go there.
What are like three historical figures that you would like, if you go back in time, that you would go hang out with?
Wow. Okay. Three historical figures. John Lennon.
Why not?
He's a Beatle.
Why not?
You know,
Yeah.
what a cool guy.
Yeah.
So he sticks out immediately. I can't even think of a two or three because he would be number one.
Yeah.
I mean, what an interesting guy he would have been.
Yeah.
You know, not just his music, but his philosophy. He'd just be a really fun guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't think of two others. I'm sorry.
That's fine. I think of the Beatles sometimes, and like my appreciation, and like they were like, they brought like a new type of music, which people really gravitate to. Like I feel like I like the Beatles 'cause I like their music, but I don't know if I have an appreciation of like how much they changed things from not, studying like what came before and what came after. And that's kind of one of the things about him is he's kind of like, the trailblazing aspect.
Revolutionary.
Of it. Yeah.
It's really interesting watching their journey on how they got there. I find that fascinating.
Like like from playing, like they were playing like strip clubs in Germany or something for like years, right?
And there was like the fifth Beatle. I can't remember his name.
Oh yeah.
And he opted out. And whoops. So I can't recall the movie, but there's a movie based on that person.
Oh no kidding.
And it's sort of his life. And the four Beatles are periphery characters.
Oh my word.
And they keep trying to drag him in, and he sort of I can't recall exactly how it goes, but he doesn't make it.
Pretty cool. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Imagine that. What else? Let's see about. What about like a general like kind of life philosophy?
Do it.
Yeah.
Hey, this ties in perfectly. It was John Lennon, right? He said, "Life is what happens when you're planning other things."
I don't know.
So I used to plan a lot of things, and now I just don't give a shit. I'm just going to go and do it. It's really exciting to me to move to Europe, and Amazon giving me that opportunity is fantastic. So my philosophy is I just want to get out there and just enjoy it. Relocating my family to Ireland. Hey, we live in Singapore. Tomorrow it's Dublin. My kid said to me, "Where are we going to live in the future?" It's like, I've got no idea.
Wow. Just kind of open to it?
Open to every adventure.
Where do you see, like in 5 years, 10 years, do you have a thought, like what you want to be doing work-wise, or?
Move to Seattle?
Yeah. I sort of haven't thought about it that much. I genuinely really enjoy my job. I think it's a really unique role in a really exciting time in the industry. So I'm really happy and content in what I do. I don't know. I thoroughly enjoy working for Amazon, and there's just so much growth and opportunity. So it might be something that naturally happens, but I don't have a hard and fast plan for what I would want to do. Just thoroughly enjoying it at the moment.
Yeah. What would you tell? Like, would you give yourself some advice, like from back, like 20 years ago when you were in London, just trying to find work?
Stop being so serious. Just. Yeah, It's like you don't have to plan and map out your life. You've just got to be completely open to any adventure that presents itself and immerse yourself into it 100%.
That's it, man.
Just living by the moment.
Those are
sort of.
words to live by.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Is there anything we didn't cover any message you want to get out there?
I think I need to pay you guys some sort of therapeutic fee. This has been
sounds fine.
pretty intense.
Yeah.
No, for me actually, Linc has motivated me, because
Definitely.
because I have become vegetarian this year, so I hope I'm able to lose some weight.
Yeah, man, you're
Great.
an inspiration. I think I'd say you're an inspiration because people are gonna I think going to find themselves in the same positions, traveling, getting caught up, and
it's so easy to fall into bad habits.
Yeah.
It really is, and you don't realize it until sometimes it's too late.
Yeah.
And I think I was at the stage of where it was almost getting too late, so I had to make some changes. And it's common. I mean, you talk to other people like Andrew Gordy and Ryo Yoshioka, who used to work here, etc. It takes its toll.
Yeah.
Even Jimmy has lost a lot of weight.
Jimmy and I, we've sort of joked that between ourselves we have lost 2 head count in the org. So apologies.
That's your recruiting pitch now. It's like
The fittest team ever.
Well, yeah. I don't know how long it will last, but certainly it's good at the time being.
Hey, I want to just say thanks for coming on, Linc. It's been
Thanks.
awesome to have this conversation.
Yeah, likewise.
We've been working for 4 years and haven't necessarily gotten to break it down to this level before. So
I always love getting updates on your music and your family. It's wonderful. So thank you.
Yeah, and maybe we'll do a round 2 and check in next time.
You have to come to Dublin.
That sounds good.
We'll do it there.
Next one we do overseas.
Sure.
Cool. All right. Yo, what up, everybody? Thanks for tuning into the podcast. Don't forget to subscribe. Feel free to leave a rating, a review, what have you. But most of all, go have a fantastical day. Okay? We'll see you soon. Goodbye.